Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with Cher, our podcast that is for entrepreneurs, about entrepreneurs, everything entrepreneurs. So thank you for being with us today. My name is Sharice Jervis Hill. I am the president and founder of Events to Remember and PR to Remember. And I have a treat for you. Someone who is definitely in the event space. So one of my event partners, happy to engage with him today and share him with all of you on Coffee with Cher. Daron Jenkins, he's the event and content producer for 919 Media. Daron, welcome to Coffee with Cher.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
I'm happy to have you here. So before we kind of get into it, our little cheers that we always do. So I am cheers to you.
Cheers to you.
I'm having tea today, no coffee for me today, which is very unusual.
I also having tea because I had coffee early this morning.
I had coffee early this morning too. So I didn't want to be too buzzed up. So I'm having tea. So all right, so let's get into it. So tell me a little bit about your firm and how you got started.
Sure. So the firm has been around for a long time. It,
Mhm.
it actually, I started becoming an entrepreneur in like around 2004. And so I started a startup company called Scene PR, which was an event platform and PR company for film, TV, tech, media companies. And I ran that for a number of years, doing tons of events and activations and partnerships. And then somewhere around 2017, I kind of decided I wanted to do more content related stuff.
Mhm.
So I set Scene PR down and put it out to pasture because I wanted to just focus on creating content. So I got into the music side, I got into like film and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And then in 2020, when COVID came, people started reaching out to me and asking me, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna do anything? I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, you're the king of events, or you should be doing stuff, like because people are at home, they don't have anything to do. And so I started doing like these little pop-up, online events,
Mhm.
talks with different people in the industry. And then a friend of mine, on after one of the calls, he's like, "So is Scene PR back?" And I'm like, No, I don't think so." But then it was like, but I felt like I had to create something that to kind of hold what I was doing.
Mhm.
And so 919 was born out of
Mhm.
that.
Nice. So 2004, actually April, I'm sharing my mug again. We're going to be celebrating our 20th year. So we both kind of,
Congratulations.
thank you. So we both kind of started about the same time. So that's pretty interesting. I remember being on your podcast and we kind of talked through some of that stuff and there was a lot of similarities.
Hmm,
So, happy to have you here today.
thank you.
So, all right, so that's how 919 Media was born. Um, there's a lot of event people in different, and the events that you do are totally different from the events that I do, right? The
Right.
event industry, PR industry is just so vast. So, what sets you apart from your competition with the different events and activations and different things that you do?
That's a great question. I w- I would answer that by saying I don't know. And the reason the way I reason why I say that is because to your earlier point, there's so many events going on, right? I
Hmm.
mean, I'm sure hundreds of people. I know hundreds of people who are also doing events in some shape or fashion. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to kind of separate yourself sometimes. And what I would say is what I would consider the differentiator would be is me in the sense because and not vainly, but because I grew up. My grandmother was in events as well. My grandmother would,
Really?
yeah, I like when I was probably in seventh or eighth grade. she spent a lot of time putting together like bus rides and
Mm-hmm.
museum visits and all these different things for to keep kids off the street.
Oh, that's amazing.
And so I would help her with a lot of this stuff. So she'd give me forms to run down to City Hall. I would help with the bus ride, getting the permission slips all signed by all the kids in the neighborhood, and run going door to door, making sure parents sign the permission slips and all these different things. So I come from that space where my why I do the events is what my differentiator is. I
Mm-hmm.
do it because I'm truly interested in trying to provide people with access to knowledge and connections. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what, that's why I stay within my lane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've done some big conferences and stuff, but for the most part, I do what I would call mid to large events that are not necessary. Like I've never did a wedding outright. I wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
not that there's anything wrong with it. I just never done it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not something that my skill set. But if you want me to throw a panel or topical conference, I'll do it because it fits within my niche of trying to provide education and connections.
Mm-hmm. So that is the first time where I've had someone like answer that question the way that you did. And um just in that answer, I hear a couple of things that set you apart and makes you different. So
Mm.
when this, you know, after this is aired and everyone is listening, I want you to listen again, and then you're going to say, oh, I literally heard like five things that set you apart. But I'm
Okay.
going to leave that for you because this is your story, not my story.
Oh,
So
I can't wait to
I
listen
want you
to
to
this
circle
then.
back to me on that. Um,
Okay.
so now we're in March. We're
Yep.
getting ready to turn that corner, ending the first quarter, going into the second quarter. What's new? Anything new and exciting for you? Anything 919 Media is working on?
I'm telling you, so just within the last 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
like, so what happened was a couple of weeks ago, you know, I'm putting together my latest event, and it's like a networking event that I'm doing for film and television in the city in New York City.
Okay.
And I was posting, I guess I must have posted it on LinkedIn or something. And a gentleman reached out to me, um, and he's like, "Hey, I would love to connect with you. I think we would have some symbiotic relationships, partnership wise. Let's have a conversation." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, like that's cool."
Mm-hmm.
So we got on the phone call, um, and I mean, the conversation went very well. He was like, "We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we got you here, we're going to do that." So there's some big things that like I can announce, not now, but later on down the road.
Okay.
But what that did was after I got off the phone call, I sat here for a second. I was like, um, what if there are other people out there that also would like to partner with me that I'm not reaching out to? Because I've kind of been kind of doing these events kind of in a vacuum a little bit. Simply because I wasn't sure how much I wanted to commit to what I was currently doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I started sending out these notes and posting these notes on different places, like a couple Facebook groups. Sent some notes to some people in my network, and it was overwhelmingly very good.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question in a long way, we in March, tons of new partnerships for what I'm doing are on the platform, which is great. We're working on a radio show now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that will be an extension of one of our audio room events that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm partnering with a renowned casting director who has done tons of Hollywood projects. We're working on a master class together that we'll be doing in April.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm speaking, which I haven't done in a long time. I'm speaking at a good friend of mine's 10th anniversary event And his company's called Stand Up for Passion. If you get a chance, check it out,
Okay.
standupforpassion.com.
Mhm.
And what it basically is seven speakers
Mhm.
are given 7 minutes to share their story, their motivation, their who they are and what they are,
Mhm.
why they do what they do, and those kind of things. So I think that should be pretty fun.
Awesome. I mean, collaborations is definitely the way to go.
Yep.
People say to me, "Oh, I noticed that you have, event people or PR people on your podcast. Like, why do you do that?" And I'm like, it's really about the collaborations, right?
Mm,
So creating those internal partnerships and external partnerships, I think is so important.
yep.
So that's exciting. I'll be on the lookout for all of that good stuff that's going to be coming down the pike. So, all right, our last question, and this one is a really important question because you've been, doing what you do for a really long time, in some way, shape, or form, over 20, and 20 years is just kind of the different businesses, right? But
Right.
I'm sure before that you were, still in this space.
Yep.
So what advice would you share with either a new entrepreneur just starting out, or maybe someone who has had their business for a while and, having a rough time and really need to kind of make some different transitions and do some things differently? What kind of advice would you share?
So I was thinking about this question a great deal the last couple of
Mhm.
days. And 2 days ago, I did this. I was interviewing a filmmaker. His name is Trevor Anderson. His new film, Before I Change My Mind, is out on streaming right now. So he's on my show.
Mhm.
And one of the last questions I asked him was, um, what advice would he give to a young creator that was trying to, follow the same road as him?
Mhm.
And he said something that I had never heard. I like he rephrased something I believed, but I had never heard said in quite the way. And I
Mhm.
think it's perfect for this question because I think it's very true. And
Mhm.
the answer was to make friends. And the reason why you make friends, a lot of us are taught to network. We're taught to go to events, be on the lookout for contacts, always, you know, be willing to open yourself up to new connections.
Mhm.
But how many times have people just said, just make friends, make friends? And the reason why I think this is important for a few reasons.
Mhm.
First reason is if you are a person, like if you're an event person, like to your point, collaborations are pretty much everything.
Yeah.
And who better to collaborate with than your friends,
Mhm.
right? Who's going to believe in your project? Who's going to support you in the downtime? Who's going to support you in the uptime? Who's going to be there when you need them? Your friends.
Yeah.
So what I would tell you is when you go in to meet, when you go to connect with individuals, don't go with the mindset of networking. Go there with the mindset of making new friends because from there, everything is possible.
Yeah. That's great advice. Um, I just did a podcast last week and we talked a little bit about networking.
Mm,
And I was saying, even with networking, some people take it as kind of a sales approach, like, here's my card, going crazy. And that's just not the way that I roll. Like my goal is, even if it's to connect with one person,
mm,
so connect with that person. That person may not have any business for me or vice versa, but just to get to know them. And that kind of creates a friendship down the road, when you start seeing them and those connections always come back. So I think
mm.
that kind of ties a little in line with what you're saying.
Yep. Yep.
I love that aspect of really like creating those friendships. I think that's so important.
Yep. Yep. And I would say because to me, the most important, like one of my biggest value things is authenticity. And I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're authentic, you can get a lot of things. There's a lot of things you can do that couldn't, like, you might not think is possible. But if you approach people and opportunities with authenticity,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things you can accomplish.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. 100%. Definitely. So, thank you for being here. Tell everybody how they can find you and give us your socials and all that good stuff.
Oh, so you can follow me. I'm everywhere. I'm on, you got to be everywhere on socials these days. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and most of the other platforms at the Daron Jenkins. And you can also check my website out. I'm at thedaronjenkins.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, sir. This
Thank you
was
for having
lovely.
me.
Great having you.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
keep in touch. Let's get those collaborations going.
Yeah, let's
And
make 2024 really good. Let's
yes.
like seriously, 2023 wasn't that great. Let's make 2024 awesome.
Yeah, sounds good. I love it. All right. Much gratitude. Thank you for being here, and I will talk to you soon.
Take care. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.